We now bring you a ZNN update with Kathleen Maroon.
We apologize for interrupting your regularly scheduled programming. We have just received word that there has been another zombie outbreak. The outbreak in New York has just been confirmed, but it is likely that outbreaks have spread across the world. It is unclear where the zombie virus has started. They are becoming more organized. We ask you to stay off the streets and remain calm. We now go to our reporter, Crystal Pryor, just outside the studio.
Thanks, Kathleen. I'm currently on the streets of New York, where the city has almost completely evacuated, and only a few actual human beings still inhabit the area. With me here, I have Olivia Beaumont, who has been kind enough to venture out of her zombie shelter to tell me why she has yet to leave. Olivia, why have you yet to evacuate your home like most of the other residents here in the city? Aren't you afraid of becoming infected by a zombie?
I'll be more than happy to answer some of your questions for you. I received a politics degree from Drake University, and one of the greatest things I learned from my world politics class my freshman year was that mutual cooperation is the key to any issues that arises. So instead of fleeing my home, I'm staying right here to help resolve the issue, even if it costs me my life. I know that through this way of thinking and working with others, this issue will be resolved.
Mutual cooperation. Can you elaborate on who we should be working together on this issue with? Considering it's only affected New York, shouldn't we be focused on our own safety at this point?
In order to figure out a solution to this problem, everyone needs to work together to formulate a plan to get rid of the zombies before they completely take over our world and the human race becomes extinct. If we wouldn't stop the spread, it will only be a matter of time before it spreads to other countries. If we can come together now to resolve it, we can stop it in its tracks before any more lives are lost.
Do you have anything else you would like to add before we sign off here?
I just want to stress one more time how important it is for our world to come together to overcome this battle.
Oh my goodness, did you hear that? Is that what I think it is? Looks like we have company.
Back to my shelter!
Hello? Are you there? Can you hear me? We apologize for the technical difficulties. Everyone is a little on edge, especially us in the studio. Please remain calm as we continue to bring breaking news about the zombie outbreak. It is still unclear at this time what caused the recent outbreak. And here today with us is Kitty Andrews, a correspondent for the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, here to inform us on the recent zombie outbreak.
Thanks for having me.
Can you remind us of the exact role of the zombie department at the CDC?
Of course. Our mission here at the Zombie CDC is to provide technical assistance to cities, states, or international partners dealing with the zombie infestation. We stress cooperation is key to the zombie problem and that everyone will benefit if the crisis is handled with mutual cooperation.
Thank you. I understand that you have been in close contact with the World Zombie Organization ever since the outbreak. Is this correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, only in recent years has the CDC worked with the World Zombie Organization to help combat the spread of zombies. Why is this relationship so critical, especially for the outbreaks such as the current?
As we all know, zombie outbreaks can be an international crisis if they are not contained near the source. They cross borders quickly and become the issue of many governments. That is why it is in the best interest of the U.S. CDC to contain outbreaks in a localized region, even if the outbreak is on foreign soil, to prevent it from infiltrating U.S. borders. So we are working closely with the WZO as well as other local disease control organizations.
What do you suggest that the people at home do in case a zombie outbreak is in their area?
Well, first things first is create a toolkit. It should include items like water, food, medication, tools, and supplies such as a knife, spear, gun, or anything else that can penetrate a zombie brain. A list can be found on the CDC website. Other items include sanitation and hygiene products, clothing, body protection, important documents such as proof of living status, and aid supplies. Next, you should create an emergency plan and follow it. Pick a meeting place for your family in case zombies invade your home, one nearby and one outside your neighborhood. Identify emergency contacts like your local zombie response team. Contacts can be found on the CDC website. Plan an evacuation route. Zombies do not cooperate or bargain. I repeat, they do not cooperate. Get out of your town. Have multiple routes planned in case your primary or secondary routes are blocked by a zombie horde.
And what do they do if their town is evacuated?
Well, know your nearest zombie shelter listed on the CDC website. Go there as quickly as you can, bringing only the toolkit with you.
Do you think that people will be more prepared for this outcome compared to earlier ones?
Oh yes, before there was little cooperation between agencies and organizations. Now we are well organized and have set, clear-cut protocols set by the WZO. Just remember, even though it is highly unlikely that the zombie threat will be eradicated, it is now a very manageable threat.
Any last comments regarding the CDC and their involvement?
The CDC would like to remind people that we are working with city, state, and international partners to manage this threat the best we can. We are conducting an investigation with the WZO and other control agencies to determine the source of the outbreak and how fast it is moving. Medical teams and first responders are being sent out to the affected area. All signs show that this outbreak will be easily contained due to cooperation in multiple parties like the CDC and WZO.
Thank you so much, Kitty, for talking to me.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying tuned in as we bring you more information about the zombie outbreak. The outbreak has seen global impacts. This is not the first zombie outbreak the world has seen. The first zombie virus hit the world globally in the 1950s. The world was not prepared and alliances were fractured. There was little cooperation between countries. The humans were almost outnumbered by zombies. Scientists from around the world collaborated to find a cure to eradicate the virus. The second outbreak was only a few short years ago. The world was more prepared and created the World Zombie Organization to combat the virus once and for all. However, efforts were not all successful due to the unwillingness of countries to join the new WZO. The world had finally recovered from the outbreak and the economy had stabilized. Now with the newest outbreak, cooperation is expected to be even greater between countries. Everyone must remain calm and follow the directions of the local police and government officials. We now go live to the White House press secretary.
Today, the president is faced with a difficult situation. First of all, we urge all citizens to stay calm and act rationally. As the latest zombie outbreak has swept through New York City, American scientists have been working diligently to find a cure, collaborating with experts from the CDC and WZO. Trading between nations has largely collapsed with fear of spreading the virus further. Trading on Wall Street has come to a halt as traders fear contracting the virus and stayed home. As a result, the American economy is temporarily at a standstill. The president believes this is not a permanent collapse. As the cure becomes known, trading will resume, the market will stabilize, economic collaboration between nations will begin again, and the American economy will return to its former state. Just beware that this process takes time. As far as the American citizens affected by this horrific disease, a concrete number of victims is not yet known. It is important to share with you all that this is the strongest strain of the virus our scientists have encountered yet. But as with previous outbreaks, experts and politicians internationally are working diligently on a cure. We know that collaboration will be key to stopping this undeadly virus. The cure will not come from one nation, it will come from a variety of nations working together bravely. The world economy will pick back up with hard work of international politicians coming together. And finally, each nation will not mourn its casualties alone. The world community will grieve together in solidarity. Rest assured that the President, his cabinet, and his advisees are doing everything in their capability to resolve this issue. We will learn from the victories and mistakes of the past and come together globally to fight this zombie virus. Please, no further questions.
Welcome back to ZNN. We are continuing to bring you live coverage of the zombie outbreak. The stock market is at an all-time low. Trade between countries is limited due to the fact of the fear of spreading the virus. It is still unclear where the virus originated from. Past vaccinations do not seem to be working. Scientists believe that this is a new strain of the zombie virus the world has not seen. Scientists from all over the world are collaborating to cure this disease. We now go to a live update from the World Zombie Organization.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to emphasize that we are doing everything in our power for the protection of our member countries. We confirm that there was a recent outbreak in New York City, and we are in contact with officials in the area, instructing them on further steps to ensure the protection of the population and stopping further outbreaks. We are constantly communicating with organizations such as the Zombie Department of the CDC and NATO, as well as individual countries, to clear up any directions and situations as they arise. If you are located in the United States, please follow the detailed guidelines on the CDC website. The WZO is working with NATO to create strategies to combat the zombie problem and to contain outbreaks within their local regions. We are also working with each country's military to prepare them for future attacks and provide the necessary tools and techniques to counter the zombie attacks. Additionally, we are seeing weakness in trade across the world. We are trying to reinforce the system to prevent a global economic collapse. We are urging member countries to lift trade restrictions in order to maintain the flow of goods. Although there are risks associated with the travel of goods between multiple countries, we're confident that our established protocols are effective enough to protect the transfer of this disease. In regards to travel, we do not recommend travel, especially in countries with outbreaks. If travel is absolutely necessary, please be aware that there are increased security measures at this time. Proof of living status is required upon entry of a new country, and some require further health testing for preventive measures. Please keep travel to a minimum and be aware of your surroundings at all times. We stress that everyone in the world be prepared for an attack with the proper tools. This includes water, food, medications, and other necessary supplies, enough for 3 days per person. Additionally, it is imperative that you have emergency plans, such as meeting places with family and friends and evacuation routes. We urge everyone to take these warnings seriously, even though hopefully it won't affect anyone else. There will be no further questions at this time.
Thank you for continuing to listen. As there are new developments to the zombie outbreak, trade is still limited between countries. The fear of spreading the disease is a concern for many countries. Tensions are running high between many countries. The United States is trying to keep peaceful negotiations, to keep communication open, and to a quicker solution to the problem at hand. Cooperation is key to the success of defeating this epidemic. One concern for the U.S. is whether China will be willing to cooperate. In past outbreaks, China has taken an every man for themselves policy. They have not always announced to the world the problems that they face or how they have resolved them. China, therefore, has seen dramatic population losses and have had the highest zombie-to-human ratio. We now go to Janet Teal, who has been following the zombie outbreak closely in China.
Yes, hello, Kathleen. We got word earlier today about a conversation that is taking place within the Chinese government. China has been completely on board with banding together internationally to face the new zombie outbreaks. However, they have become irritated by the lack of participation by some neighboring Asian countries.
So what does this mean for the future of the World Zombie Organization?
Well, this is definitely threatening because if China does decide to pull out because of a few countries not participating, then the whole WZO could see a shift in its abilities and focus. The neighboring states who aren't participating, namely North Korea, have decided that they can better handle the problem on their own.
And how has that been working out for them so far?
There isn't a lot of information for us to look at, simply because North Korea has always been an isolated nation, and now they have retreated inwards even more in an attempt to contain the problem within their borders. Even if they aren't able to achieve eradication within their borders, they will undoubtedly benefit if the WZO were to develop an effective endgame strategy. This is why the Chinese government is starting to get frustrated, because non-participant nations would essentially get a free ride from any major anti-zombie development.
What should the United States be looking at doing to encourage China to remain with the WZO?
Well, China needs to be reminded that cooperation makes everyone better off than if we were trying to go through this apocalypse alone. But if they do decide to leave, the United States may take that as a cue to begin to handle the zombie problem regionally, focusing on keeping the undead out of North America. Any cooperation is better than total isolation, but hopefully the WZO can hold up. What's important to remember is that the undead are not capable of cooperation, so we must continue to prove that we are different from them by working together throughout this time of crisis.
Alright, thank you, Janet. Hopefully China does decide to stay with the WZO, and you will be able to keep us updated with this developing story. We are still getting developments on the zombie outbreak. Most people are fleeing areas near outbreaks to save themselves from the zombies. Everyone would agree that zombies are a threat to humanity. However, some do not believe that this is true. There have been many zombie right protests all over the country. We take you to a live protest in Portland.
Zombie rights now! Zombie rights now! Zombie rights now! Zombie rights now! Zombie rights now!
Here with us now is Zoe Johanna representing the zombie rights movement. Your movement has been gaining a lot of momentum lately, but how about you explain to everybody at home what exactly you're trying to accomplish?
We're trying to have our voice heard. Zombies have rights too. Even though they have deteriorating brains, they are still people. We are trying to speak up for their rights.
All right, and what do you have to say about the many lives lost to zombies?
Well, it's very unfortunate. Accidents can happen, and these people have a disease. But we want no more violence, no more hunting of the zombies, no more military against them, no more zombicide.
And how do you expect your movement to make a difference in world politics?
Well, we just want our voice to be heard. We know that these are hurting people and we are trying to protect them. We are trying to influence positive change for zombies.
Well, there it is, folks. The zombie rights movement is a popular movement in highly affected areas, and they are attempting to make a difference for the undead. Back to you in the studio.
The latest zombie outbreak is plaguing most of the world. Only with cooperation between countries and the WZO and the CDC will we finally eradicate the zombies. This is still an ongoing problem. Please stay off the streets and listen to local police. Follow the directions of the CDC. We will bring you more coverage at the 9 o'clock news. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you for joining us at ZNN. I'm Kathleen Maroon. You stay human, planet Earth.